In a world full of distractions, there is one big question on every dog owner's lips.
How do I become more than just the person holding the other end of the leash?
We all get dogs with a dream in mind, a vision of the future. And if right now your everyday reality isn't quite that picture you had in mind, you are in the right place.
It really doesn't have to be this way.
You absolutely can and will be more to your dog than just the person who gets in between them and the world.
The key is you need to be more sexy.
More sexy than the neighbourhood cat.
More sexy than the jogger in the park.
More sexy than that half-eaten hamburger they just found on the floor.
And yes, even more sexy than the dog across the road.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Lauren.
Together we're Absolute Dogs.
And you're listening to the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast. Hello and welcome to the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast, the podcast that gives you real life dog training and human results. So today I am joined by the wonderful Sam. Sam, who's part of my Devon Dogs team. So you're part of where I live and where we roll. And actually, I thought this would be a brilliant opportunity to chat to you on something that I think, Sam, people are going to love. It's stepping outside of your comfort zone. Hello, Sam,
Love
and
it.
welcome.
Hello. Hello, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, definitely an interesting topic for sure. Really cool.
And it's something that I know that you've been pretty good at, because I think we should tell the story of how we first met, right? Because we first met in not necessarily the normal sort of dog trainer, Sexier Than a Squirrel, coming for a holiday, or Sexier Than a Squirrel, saw us at Crufts, or done Sexier Than a Squirrel, done Training Academy, done Pro Dog Trainer. I'm a big fan. You came to us, we advertised at Devon Dogs looking for a job, right?
Yes, I lived in Scotland. You advertised for a job, and I was already a member of Training Academy. I'd done Pro Dog Trainer, but I'd never been because it was so far away. I just hadn't quite gotten to it yet, you know. And then COVID happened, and I totally was going to. And then the job came up, and I was like, "Oh!" And I came down for a week's trial, and that's where I met you for the very first time. And I was trying really hard not to fangirl, basically, because I was in a job interview. Basically, I was trying to be really, really cool. Hopefully, I must have done okay. So
we hit off brilliantly. Straight away, I was like, this girl has amazing energy. This girl has super cool attitude. This girl is like, I want her on my team. I was like, I want her on my team. I want her on my team. I want her on my team. And then I said, so how does it work from here? I was like, how does this all go from here? And then you dropped the bombshell. The bombshell that no other team member that I've interviewed has ever dropped. And what did you tell me?
That I might not be able to leave my job. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, I was like, she's coming for an interview. I've loved it. I've thought this is a girl to work with us. She is amazing. Her energy is super cool. My students are going to love her. Pro dog trainers would be proud. Academy students would be proud. She is definitely a cool team member. I want to bring her in. And she says, yeah, I love it too. I'm really excited. And I might not be able to because like, weird. This is weird, this scenario. It's like a different world. And so tell us your comfort zone leap by even coming for this interview, by heading down from Scotland, by actually even attempting it. What was your comfort zone leap?
Oh gosh, I guess there were a few. So the first one was I was in the RAF, so I was in a contract essentially. So I very much had to ask permission, and it should have been a year's notice to kind of give to leave. So the first thing was I had to apply for less notice. That was the first step.
It's me. It could be up to a year, and I was like, whoa. It's weird.
It is. It's a bizarre thing to get your head around. It comes down to sort of all sorts of things like deployments and all that kind of stuff. But you can apply, and it's very rare that they'll not let you. It's really, really rare. But I had recently come onto like a new squadron, and there was an extra contract that was set in there, and there was all sorts of like little red tape things I had to hammer away. I had to really push and be like, no, I really want to go. No, you really should let me leave. So that was the first hurdle. And then it was moving down from Scotland and buying our first house ever. And how were we going to work that? And I said to you, how about January? And you went, yeah, November. And I was like, okay. So that was another hurdle to figure out.
I think this is hilarious. Like, really, it was, wasn't it? It was like, and I don't even remember that, but I do remember you being like, I will do this. I don't know how old it is, but I am. I'm on this team. I'm on this team. I'm here. I'm going to do this. So no, that's been really cool. Now, I'm thinking about today and stepping outside of your comfort zone. Today we've been filming here. Lots of people that listen to the Sexier Than Squirrel podcast, they know that we do real life dog training. We train pet dogs, we train working dogs, we train puppy dogs, we train elderly dogs, we train reactive dogs, naughty dogs, dogs who are downright monkey. Like, we literally train dogs here at the centre and at AbsoluteDOGS. That's what we do. Now, today we were filming. I don't know if you managed to catch a sneak peek of some of the things we were filming. Did you get to
Yes.
Go on, tell
with Michelle's one.
Yeah, go on.
That's what I had a sneak peek at, and she was doing something, I think, for a new badge, possibly that might have something to do with like food and wellness and such. It looked really, really cool, really, really cool.
So, what did you get to do today, and how did you manage to be roped in on a camera? Because the cool thing is that if you're here and if you're at the centre ever, you're likely to be roped in at some point to the cameras. Mm-hmm. Right? I managed to get Kev on the camera today. I managed to sneak a peek at a couple of other students. And then I know Michelle managed to get you on the camera. So actually, proximity to some of these things is potential power, in the sense that you are going to get there. But actually, does it mean you step outside your comfort zone? I know that, Sam, a few times, I mean, you've done a couple of very special things for me, Brave, for example, and I'm happy to do that. And today you managed to get your own little dog on the camera. Like, tell us what you've been up to, because again, it's all stepping outside your comfort zone.
So I came into work today to do some videos for our cottages. Initially, that was the idea. So I was coming to film a little bit about our cottages so that we could show people how cool they were to come and stay at Devon Dogs and do some training with us whilst having a holiday. It's really nice. And then Michelle messaged me asking if I could bring my dog and would she be a taste tester? And I was like, yeah, okay, not really knowing what it was about, but I was like, I've learned to roll with it. And so I kind of brought her along, and then she told me what it was for. And I was like, oh, that's quite nice. That's quite cool. So we did a little bit of search with her, looking for some of Michelle's special treats in the garden at Tor View, which is one of our really lovely ones. Got, funny enough, a beautiful view of a Tor. So that was kind of cool.
Sushi, weren't you? I don't want to give away too much, but like, these guys, you're literally living the dream. They're searching out dog sushi.
Yeah, she loved it. She was laughing it up. She thought it was amazing, like best day ever, Then I came down to the office, and one of the guys that films for you and films for AbsoluteDOGS, Sam, he came up to me and he goes, what do you think about doing a knowledge week filming episode? I was like, what do you mean, for Pro Dog Trainer Club? And he's like, yes. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. And I guess the first thoughts that went through my head was like, well, that's a step up from what I'm maybe prepared for in my head. So it definitely was it was kind of like I really had a moment there where I had almost not a wobble, but a bit of a question for a second,
Love it.
So that was, I guess, that's kind of where I went with it. But I went with it, and it was great. I had a really good time doing it.
I love it.
It was scary though.
And then another moment that I know you really stepped out of your comfort zone, and that was for me because I didn't feel I could introduce something, and that was our listeners might know that a couple of years ago, our very special dog Brave, she had an accident. She had a sprinting accident where she went sprinting alongside one of the fields at Bowerland. She sprinted from the top of the field to the bottom of the field, and partway across, she had what's called an ANNPE, non-compressive, basically spinal injury. And she was paralyzed. Now, Brave is still a very happy, very loved member of our family. And yet it's all a bit different because we do have a dog who is now effectively a little bit disabled. And I wanted to share the journey, and lots of you will be able to listen to the journey or see the journey if you wanted to. Definitely an emotional one, but a beautiful one at the same time. And I wanted to share it with our Super Trainer live event last year. And as much as I wanted to share it and I wanted to introduce it, I didn't quite know how to, and I couldn't do it without crying, and I just couldn't work it out. And you'd only been with us like maybe a week, maybe you weren't even by then. Like, you were literally, I know you were very new, and I don't know what it was about us and the connection and meeting and realizing that I realized that you could do it. And I was like, I really think you could do this. And I know I can't. I need your help. So tell us a little bit about that, Sam.
Yeah, it was for STL, so Super Trainer Live, one of the Absolute Dogs yearly kind of massive Zoom events that you hold, which is really cool if anybody wants to get on it, because it is awesome. It was, I think, I saw it as, I feel everybody was really, really close to the situation, and coming in from it with a little bit of an outsider's perspective, I guess I was able to deliver that with kind of holding myself together a little bit, because I wasn't as close to it. You know, it wasn't as fresh and raw for me. Absolutely. But I remember you sent me the video, and I'd had a glass of wine, and I sat there, I think, watching the video, and then cried for about 2 hours afterwards. It was just so upsetting. It was really heartbreaking. And I know you'd asked me to do it, but we hadn't kind of confirmed it. So I kind of wrote something up and sent it to you, and I was just like, look, this is kind of what I thought, and you know, it's okay if you don't use it, and you know, whatever you go with is absolutely fine, but this is kind of the way that I thought that I would deliver it. And then you had me in the next morning early, and we just went for it. Matt kind of filmed it with me, and yeah, it was it was an absolute honor, but it was absolutely terrifying, because I thought, do you know, I really hope I do this justice. You know, like, I really hope, I think I even said to Matt after we'd filmed it, I said, you know, if you don't want to use it, it's okay. Like, I'm not going to be offended. It's your story. You need to tell it how you need to tell it. And so, yeah, it was a real honor. And very special.
You did such a great job there. Now, I suppose in many different ways, you've shown some real courage, some real bravery, and some real ability to step out your comfort zone, Sam. So in a second, I'm going to ask you some of your tips. We might even do a little bit of a tips.
Sure.
On I've dropped my notes, which is really great. All I can see at a distance is stay sexy, and I'm like, we're not ready for that yet. So what I would definitely say is that whether it's taking a leap and trying for a job that you stand like 1 in 200, 300's chance of getting, right? Like, that's small. And yet you were brave enough to take that opportunity. Secondly, you don't just take the opportunity with a bit of a whim. You actually get your backside here and you try it. And then you actually take that leap by leaving your current role and seeing how that goes. And then you're offered opportunities to be on cameras, you're offered opportunities to be on podcasts, you're offered opportunities, and at every opportunity you dive in, you jump in, except for my fitness opportunity. You haven't
That's just a timing thing. We're going to get that. It's going to happen.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. But you really are very, very good at having courage to step outside your comfort zone. Now, let's do a tips tennis. Let's have some tips.
Sure.
Step outside your comfort zone. One of mine is going to be, don't overthink it. Do not overthink it. I think when we get in our heads, there's a saying, get in your head and you're dead. Don't get hell out of your head. Like, stop overthinking things. That is my number one top tip for stepping out of your comfort zone, or stepping out of your comfort zone, and getting in your sort of like, let's go for things and let's try something new. Over to you, Sam. What's one of yours?
Mine would be interrupt your thoughts, because sometimes they do crop up. You know, sometimes they just pop in your head without you getting a chance to kind of go, like, I'm not going to get in my head. And so for me, I've learned to interrupt that and sort of just shove it away a little bit and go, actually, do you know what, let's do this and see what happens.
Nice. My next one's going to be, surround yourself with brave people or courageous people or other people who do it, because the more you're around the sort of risk takers, the action takers, the people that will have a go at things, the more you're like, I could do that. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Like, who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you putting yourself up against? Who are you sort of mixing with, showing off with? Like, test each other a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And then you're like, oh, I could do that. And then suddenly you've got a bit of like, almost, I could do that rivalry going on, and not in a bad way, in a really good way. Like, it's work, it's camaraderie. It's watching each other do the same thing together and doing it well. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to have that that sort of support network, I think, as well, and other people that are like-minded a little bit and are able to push you and you can push them, and that's really nice.
Absolutely.
I think my other one would be think about the why fors. Like why do you want to do it? Because I think sometimes we're very quick to focus on the things that may stop us, and the things that could stand in the way. But I think we forget to look at why we wanted to in the first place before all those things crept in. So I think I always try and focus on the reason I wanted to do it in the first place, and so when it came to Devon Dogs, I knew that I would get just a wealth of like experience and stuff there. I think that I knew that there might be an inkling of an opportunity to get involved with AbsoluteDOGS as well. And I think I knew that the team would be like ridiculously optimistic and peppy, which is my kind of world, and I wanted to be a part of it. And I wasn't getting that where I was working. So for me, that was a no-brainer, because what I was in was not what I wanted. When I focused on the what fors, that really helped me make that decision very, very quickly.
Nice. I like that a lot. Yeah, I've not thought of it like that either. So I always like it when I haven't thought like that. I like that. I really like that. Stepping outside your comfort zone. Another one for me would be no regrets. Like I really want no regrets. And I've got a couple of regrets and I would like to not have them. And I think if I hadn't have maybe been slightly over influenced by other people and what other people were thinking. My dad said no to me on an opportunity that I really wanted to go for. It's a weird one, actually. It was an equestrian centre that was very dear to my heart, that I really loved, and it came up a good few years ago now, but very reasonably. And I think I could have done that, and I think I could have gone for it and had it alongside what we have. And I didn't do it, and it wouldn't have been moving or anything. It would just been an as well as. To be able to have maybe a side centre or a sort of a horse opportunity, really, because I love the horses too, as you know, and I didn't do it. And I think sometimes we over listen to other people and we're over affected like by other people's judgments, needs, input, whatever it might be, however we might want to look at it. And so for me, I actually think it's in those moments of overthinking, hearing too many voices from other people and being too easily influenced that sometimes we can not do the thing we should have done. To a degree, when it comes to stepping outside your comfort zone, go with your gut. If your gut says hell yeah, just do it. Like, just do it and find a way to do it. Like you said, don't find all of the reasons not to. Just a way to do it. There would have been a way to do it. I just quickly listened to other people. And I think you've got to be careful when we come into stepping outside of your comfort zone, because it's your comfort zone. And it could make you therefore feel uncomfortable. It will also make other people feel uncomfortable. So if it's something that's stretching, like when you said you're moving to Devon, there'll be people that said, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, for sure.
Or say, for example, it's me saying, I really love this equestrian centre alongside the Bowerland sort of beautiful holidays and dog training centre. Like they'd have been like, no. And they'd have been scared that it might have affected here, or it might have affected me, or it might have affected the dogs, or it might have affected them. Like you don't actually know. Ultimately, that was their concern. But my concern was, I know what I can do. And so I wished that those are no regrets for me. So live a life with no regrets. And that for me is a regret. And so I try really hard not to have regrets. And I try really hard to do the things. If you want to do something, do the thing.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a really big believer of like things happen in a way, like things happen for a reason. And so I think we talked about this the other day, actually, and the universe opens doors for you, and it's just you seeing them and walking through them. And sometimes we don't have the courage to, and it's just finding that courage. I think if anybody was, because like sometimes there's, these huge things that take an awful lot of courage, stepping outside of your comfort zone, but there's lots of little ones. And I think for me, start, if you're the sort of person that you feel that you wouldn't be able to take the big leaps right now, then take the small ones. And it gets addictive is kind of what I'd say there. So start taking small little leaps of things that you normally wouldn't do, even if it's just something as simple as take up a guitar lesson, or go to I don't know. That's the only one I can think of.
Well, no, I mean, for me, an example I'm thinking of is some of you know Matt, my partner. He can be quite shy. His would be say hi to someone in a shop. So when you're just say hi, and he might give me a silent high five like afterwards, but saying hi is enough. So when he's at the counter, they might say, "Can I help you?" And he'd say, "Thank you, give me my shopping." Instead, he might say, "Hi, are you having a nice day?" Or "Thank you, have a really nice day," or like, "I appreciate that," and how's your day going? Whereas it would just be like a closed conversation, goodbye. So it was like a small attempt to speak, but that is an act of courage. And yet there's me thinking an act of courage would be buy a riding space or into Devon. Those things aren't necessarily everyday courage acts. So actually, what act of courage could you do on a daily basis? That act of courage some days might be just stepping outside your front door, or jumping on an exercise bike, or taking your dog for a walk, or training your dog in a group. It really could be, or just training your dog. Those acts of courage. And I think what we've got to do is acknowledge that everybody is on their own path, everybody is doing their own journey, and it looks different, right? It's different for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. And I know sometimes we get, we get students here at Devon Dogs where we're having to really push them outside of their comfort zone. It's a new way of training for some people. We're very privileged that we get some people that come from the Absolute Dogs world, and they're amazing to teach, and we love it when they come to us. But sometimes we get people that don't have a clue what we do, and so that's a real, for them, they've taken that step to come somewhere new that maybe does things in a slightly different way than sort of society normally does it, and I think that's a fantastic leap. So
I think that our trainers, you included, get it really quite easy when you get the Absolute Dogs crew, right? Because when the Absolute Dogs crew come here, you're like rolling, because you can
for sure.
So you can is it different?
Yeah, it's there are, I like both for different reasons, but I really love it when people from Absolute Dogs come, because you can get geeky with them, you can push them a bit further, you can really kind of almost spitball with them about the stuff that they know, and expand their knowledge of it, as well as expanding what they do with their dog as well, and pushing them outside of the comfort zones, maybe even what they're doing. So yeah, it's really cool.
Sort of what would be the word, like you can really take it to another level. So you could almost oh no, my laptop says it's going to die, I need to find a charge. It's not good news. Give me 2 seconds, I'm coming straight back. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
But basically, just explain to everyone very quickly the sort of things you might do with a brand new person in the house, how different it might be. I'm back go.
She's left me, listeners. I think that we would have a look at some of the core values of Absolute Dogs and Devon Dogs training. So things like ditch the bowl and ditch the routine, and thinking about reframing what walks look like. And we have to really kind of coax out of them the reasons that we might do that. And then we really love just playing some of the fun games with them, because I think first and foremost, Devon Dogs and Absolute Dogs and the way that we train as games-based concepts trainers, it's about fun and it's about learning through fun. So we definitely have a look at things like orientation game and middle and disengagement pattern, or orientation from distraction. Because the really cool thing about all of these games are that it's the foundations of what we do, and it actually expands and it layers upon itself, and then those layers, they grow into something different into the real world. So that's kind of how we roll.
Wrong charger.
No. All right, give me another question. Absolute Doggers and those listening to the Sexier Than Squirrel podcast, this is pushing me outside of my comfort zone. I am now rolling with this podcast by myself. If you're unsure of anything to do in terms of pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, just come and work at Devon Dogs, and you're laughing, really, because Lauren just asked you to do things, and then it's you just got to go with it. She's back.
It's done. What a girl. And like give an example of Debbie stepping outside of her comfort zone last week. Like, what do we have?
Yeah, massively. So she's come over all the way from Florida, USA, and I think, and without her family, so she came over by herself. So it wasn't like sort of like she was, had this little network around her that she knew. She came to a new place where she'd never met any of the people except for on Facebook, maybe. Got on a plane. I remember seeing her journey as well on Facebook, because she was posting as she went. That was a long journey. That was a long old slog.
Like massive journey, wasn't it? Like insane.
Yeah,
really,
really, really huge. And I don't think she really knew necessarily what she was going to do here, right? I don't think she had, because it was a real bespoke package for her, wasn't it?
It was. So she was shadowing a trainer. She had film days with Tom and I. She had one-to-ones, and she was borrowing a dog to work with. And when she came, she said it was a holiday of a lifetime. She was so excited, and she couldn't believe it. She had this one opportunity to be here. Anyway, she's gone home and she's booked another week here. So she's coming back again. I love it.
I love it. She was such a blast. I really, really enjoyed having her.
And what a step outside of the comfort zone to fly and to travel a day and a half on your own when you've never done anything like that. I mean, I've got a very funny story. Like, I've never traveled alone abroad except for when I went to get on a plane on the way to America. And I realized quite quickly when Tom was being booked in ahead of me and he was on the plane and like waving, that my Esther was attached to my old passport and not my new passport, and they would renew my Esther was in date and it was all fine, but they wouldn't let me attach it to my new passport because it was attached to my old passport. And so basically I could not fly, and so Tom was going ahead of me, and I was basically stranded pretty much. So it was a bit of a nightmare. So I definitely do not recommend that as a strategy to fly. I had no money because Tom had the card that were working. Tom had the card. My phone ran out of charge, which is obviously unusual for me. And so, it was all a bit chaotic, really, Sam. It was all a bit mad. I'm just thinking there, I stretched you outside your comfort zone because you might think that, like, you might be like me and you can just carry on talking, but that has taken practice. How did that feel for you to do that?
It's really easy for your mind to go really blank really fast. I'm not the best person to be put on the spot. So generally speaking, when people put me on the spot, mainly like if you were to ask me a question outright, that I maybe didn't know was coming, although this is basically what this is. Sometimes I can go really blank, and then usually I'll make a joke, which is how I kind of deal with it. But I don't know, just.
I love that. I love that you're like, she just put me right on the spot and I am still here and I'm still
just got to go with it,
rolling with it. And
actually, funny enough, there, laughing. So massive, right? So just laugh about it, So yes, I was out of my comfort zone, and yes, I could have just gone blank and gone like a deer in headlights, but actually just make a joke of it, and it is funny, I have gotten used to that a lot. I mean, I was quite good with ambiguity anyway. The RAF prepare you really well for that, but I definitely have learned a new level of it working with you.
Sure. Of I love that it's given you a whole new thought. When you're working with clients and helping them transform their dog's behavior, there are some common areas that clients will struggle with. You know them, I know them, but largely because they require some discomfort in like a change to routine or a change to stuff or a change to expectation or I suppose thought processes to get the real life results they're seeking. How have you dealt with that? Because I wonder if that's a bit of a step outside comfort zone for a lot of people.
I think it depends on the person a little bit here as well. So it's the first thing you'll be gauging the person I've got in front of me, a bit like, training the dog in front of you as well. Like it's the same. I need to have a look at how I feel they would deal with it and just listening to their language and how they're being receptive to what I'm asking them to do. And then I might find and talk about little steps. So a little bit like we were talking earlier, things like ditch the bowl, for example, where we use our dog's normal daily allowance for food, for training, rather than putting it into a bowl. For some people, that's mind blowing, and not something they're used to. And so we just talk about, well, how about we take half to begin with? And then we take, 3/4 and we just build it and we find different ways to use it. And usually that sits well with people. So that's kind of how I sell it, I guess, you know, and how I help people push outside of that comfort zone. We also talk about the fact that they're here to see us and to train. And so something's not working. And so something needs to change for that to change, you know? Like what they're doing right now is not working. It has to change to change.
And let's be honest, most people that we would see more than once, right? Because they probably are going to change, like, not just everything overnight. It's going to be multiple things over a period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember having, it's a really cool example, actually. I remember having so it was one of our post-training calls. So once you go away from having your holiday with us and your training sessions with us, we have a post-training call support kind of call to see how you're doing. You've got home, you're trying to put stuff in practice. And I remember having a chat with them and them saying to me, this ditch the routine thing, we just can't do it. It just, you know, they were using sort of really negative language about it. They felt like they couldn't fit it into their life. They couldn't change their lives. And so we talked for about an hour about all the tiny small changes that they could make that didn't really impact their lives that much, you know. So their lives didn't get impacted, but their dogs' lives did. And then I spoke to them again about a month later, and their attitude toward it was just a complete 180. They were like, oh my God, Sam, we can't stop changing things. You know, we are addicted. This is the best thing in the world. And I can't believe the difference it's made for my dog. So I think that just kind of finding that beginning part, and it's really nice when they come back to us and we can see the change, you know, where they've started to make these little moments. And then even then they came back again and had, you know, we were looking at a new direction. They'd come so far, now they wanted to go to that next step. So it's really nice to be able to see that progression and to be able to push them and push them and push them.
When it comes to like stepping outside of a comfort zone, because it's not necessarily a 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, this could build up over a period of time. This doesn't have to be an overnight decision. This doesn't have to be stepping outside your comfort zone in a big way, like you're talking about going from Scotland to Devon, or leaving your long-term career. Me saying, let's buy another, like a horse centre. Like, it doesn't have to be a massive decision like that. This could just be, okay, today I put 2 handfuls of food in my pocket for my dog's dinner. And I goes, and at the end of the day, if it's still there, then I put it in his bowl anyway. Like, it won't be there. Don't get me wrong. It's not. It could definitely do those. Now, I'm thinking here, we've had some incredible game changers join us from all over the world lately here at AbsoluteDOGS, film days in Devon, home of Devon Dogs. What would you say to anyone who's on the fence about making a similar decision, whether that's coming somewhere like here or whether that's taking another dog training adventure? I know for me, I've been out to Germany to train my dogs in agility scenarios when I've just fancied a bit of different input. What would you say to someone who's a bit on the fence about whether they could make a bit of a holiday journey? What would you say?
I would say, I genuinely just go for it. I think that, you know, those little tips that we gave, don't think about it too much and give it a go, because what if it goes wrong? You know, it's not a fixed decision. It doesn't mean that that's going to shape the whole of your life. You know, it's going to be this one decision, this one moment, see how it goes. If it goes wrong, that's okay. But I bet you'd learn from it. You know, I bet you take something away from it, even if it didn't go perfectly. So in terms of coming for a holiday, I'm really sure that it will go really, really well and that you'll really, really enjoy it. We're very friendly. I think that you've got to risk sometimes to get something more. I think that would be my biggest thing. You know, nothing really good comes without an element of risk to it. And so feel it, go for it.
Like, what have we really got to lose? Like, the experience, the opportunities, ultimately all of the things I've really wanted to do and then haven't done, I've always regretted. All the things that have like niggled me for a while to have a go at, or to try, or to see, or to do, or whatever it might be. If I've not done them, I have then long-term regretted it. So no regrets, like absolute regrets. Like, we've got to live it. We've got to have a go at it. We've got to do it, right?
Yeah. Isn't there a really good quote or something about we don't ever I can't remember the quote. It's about being on your deathbed and wishing that you'd done more, basically. I can't remember you're good at quotes. You know, Lauren. I'm putting you on the spot now.
Yeah, you never sit there thinking wishing you'd worked harder or wishing you'd saved more money. Like no one's in that position. And like you always wish you'd had more joy, and no one ever regrets having an adventure. No one ever regrets having a great time with friends or with students, or no one ever says, God, I wish I'd exercised less, or I'd had less adventures, or I wish I'd spent less money. You know what, we're all there thinking that adventure is the thing, right? Like doing things that make the memories, that make you smile, that add to the experience bank. I think that's the bank account that I want to be rich in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That's my favorite type of bank account.
That's high five to that. I think we'll have that one. So I think, Sam, we've given lots and lots and lots of different tips on stepping outside of your comfort zone. The biggest thing we need all of our listeners here to do is take on board just one little thing. So I know I'm going to be stepping outside of my comfort zone tonight. I'm going to try in every way that I can, whatever it might be. And I think constantly acknowledging that we're trying and we're making an effort, and this is something we're trying to do. You've been amazing as a guest once again. I thank you.
Thank you.
No, I really thank you from all of our listeners. I know they're going to love it. That was this episode of the Sexier Than Squirrel podcast. Literally join us for next episode, because it is insane, immense, jam-packed, action-packed, in super cool content. Literally, I cannot wait to share more with you. And I know Sam's going to be back, because Sam, we've got more to talk about, haven't we?
Absolutely. Lots more conversations to have, for sure.
Loads more to have. Thank you once again. And remember,
stay sexy.
Woo!
Stop right there, game changer. We have something very exciting to tell you about if you struggle with stressful walks right now.
So pulling your dog, yanking your arm out of its socket, just basically it's painful, right?
Now, it's a struggle that you want to transform. You want to go from pulling on lead like a train to loose leash walking prince or princess, and we've got a solution for you.
It is just £27. It's a mini course that literally is going to be your zero to hero of loose leash walking.
Day by day, we're going to be showing you the games and skills and strategies that you are going to need to implement to transform your dog's leash behaviour in the next 2 weeks.
This is a complete package. You get to keep it for life. Yes, for life. And it's just £27 to you.
Access it anywhere, keep it for life, no equipment required, and all you've got to do is go to absolutedogs.me/stop pulling. And yes, it is just £27, game changers.